Here we're going to talk about ethics. So we'll cover three basic topics. What are ethics and a professional code of ethics? Research ethics and institutional review boards. And then ethical principles to guide our research projects. Ethics are considered a moral duty and responsibility. It is the proper behavior to do the right thing, even when no one is looking or no one is going to find out. And then we'll talk about professional code of ethics. These are norms, values, and principles that govern professional conduct within your field of study or your field of the profession. They cover relationship with clients, colleagues, and society, and other things like that. Research ethics. The ethical principles expected when designing and conducting and reporting research. These are going to guide you through the entire process. Let's talk about non-malfeasance. This is the thing that says, first, do no harm. So that means no physical harm, no psychological harm. You need to preserve the right to privacy. So an individual determines how, when, or what extent their information about them is shared or communicated. Preserve confidentiality or anonymity. This is making sure that you cannot single a person out based on data. Let's take a look at a couple of quick examples. Situation number 1, Together Data. A horseback riding program offered at a regional park requires individuals to record their name on an after-class customer satisfaction survey and leave it at the desk as they exit. So the thing that we're losing here is confidentiality. Putting a name to a survey means that you can trace that back to a certain individual. Number 2, the university ropes course instructor wants to document for a conference presentation the gains students make in their course. So this seems like a legit research study, right? After 3 hours of instruction, she demands the students attempt a demanding maneuver. So what we're looking at here is physical and psychological harm. So two things going on. Number 1 is that there's already been 3 hours of instruction, and then we're looking at a demanding maneuver. So there's physical and psychological harm. Number 3, a health club offers beginning swim lessons to adults. 2 classes are taught by different instructors, and both classes are offered at the same time. Open swimming is occurring. The pool manager wants data collected to determine which instructor does a better job teaching. So, because it's going on at at the same time as another activity, we have a loss of privacy. Now, it's a good thing to determine who's the better instructor, but we want to look at privacy as well, make sure that that's ensured. Number 4, as part of a thesis research project, a student is teaching adults that are blind how to sail. Wearing harnesses while the boat is not required. So, at first, it seems like a legitimate study. We're going to look at how we can teach folks that are blind to sail a sailboat. However, the fact that they're not wearing a harness or any other type of safety device may cause physical or psychological harm during the process. So, to dovetail with that, we'll talk about promoting the welfare of participants and providing a benefit to participants in a research study. So let's look at 3 different types of benefits. The direct benefit, which is learning a new skill or treating an issue or a problem. A material benefit, which is money for participation or certificate for participation. And then less tangible stuff like contributing to a profession's base knowledge and improving professional practices. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we ensure respect. This is recognizing a person has the right to decide if he or she wants to participate in a study. Always make sure you use written, informed consent, no matter what. For minors, we want to make sure that both the guardian or guardians and the minor are asked to sign the consent. Here we go. The basic thing is always make sure you have a written, signed consent. And in the case of minors, make sure their guardians sign it as well. Honesty is our next topic. We're going to talk about fidelity overall. This is trust versus deception or scientific fraud. So we want to make sure we don't do a couple of things, and then we make sure we do a few more things. No data falsification, so we're not making up data. No misrepresentation of our study's purpose. So we want to be very honest about what we're doing and why we're doing it. No plagiarism. So we want to make sure we don't steal anybody else's idea and pass these on as our own. This also happens related to like lit reviews and stuff like that. If we're using somebody else's knowledge, we want to make sure that we give credit for that. Then we want to make sure we're engaging in data sharing or letting others, under certain conditions, of course, have access to your data. And this, you still want to ensure confidentiality and anonymity, but the fact that we're willing to share data ensures that we're being transparent. Always provide proper authorship credit, or for whatever reason, whether it's on a presentation or an actual written document, so that co-authors in a study are appropriately credited. We want to make sure we stay away from ghost or gift authorship as well. Justice is our next one. This is treating research participants fairly, equitably, and appropriately. Not biased on who or who is not selected to participate, so anybody has an equal chance and can participate. Or, in some cases, you have to have a legitimate reason for including or excluding individuals from the research. So this is going to be within your research methodology to say this is why somebody is or is not included and have a legitimate reason for it. Then we'll talk about competence. This is when the researcher is qualified by training, qualification, and experience to conduct the project. We want to make sure that the research or the research person that's helping collect data, so the assistant, is not doing any testing or data collection that they're not qualified to do. Okay, so let's go over a few examples here. A camp director wants to determine how exercise affects the behavior of children attending his camp. The study is done without the parents' or children's knowledge. So here we're violating respect by not allowing them to choose or not choose to be involved. Next one. As a part of an experiment, children attending a camp are offered the opportunity to participate in a novel yet physically demanding evening activity, such as hip-hop dance or Zumba classes. Only campers who are at the high end of normal weight are selected for these special night programs. So we're violating justice because not everybody has an equal opportunity to engage in the project. Third one. During a focus group, feedback is given about the quality of hiking trails in a national park. The researcher feels some sentiments shared are biased and consequently omits them from the reporting. So this has to do with honesty and data falsification. We're not including data that we collected that is true and accurate as far as getting it from the participants. Leaving out data, so that's overall the data set is not accurate. Let's look at a couple more. A college student is hired one summer to drop in unannounced at city pools and evaluate the performance of lifeguards as well as the cleanliness of operations. So here we're violating the competency rule. It would be hard for me to really know if the college student that's hired just one summer has the competence and the skills and experience necessary to do this task. Number 2, a faculty member asks students to answer 300 questions dealing with any recreation activities they may have ever tried. There's no known advantages for why students should complete the survey that are made known to them. So here we look at, is the amount of strain and the effort worth the outcome? So there's no benefit to the students taking part in this, and doesn't seem like there's any benefit to the data collection as well. Here's a couple more. Suppose you're interested in learning about conflict resolution strategies used when children play. Accurate information on this could be obtained by hiding a video camera in a trash can centrally located on the playground. So we've got a couple of things here. Number 1, we've got a loss of privacy and respect. So the loss of privacy is there's no anonymity to this because we got a video camera, and loss of respect because people do not know if they are actively engaged in the project. Second one, interviews on how boredom relates to drug use and abuse were conducted with a college class of 20 students. A detailed report on the findings was published. Even though fictitious names were used in the report, a majority of the 20 original study participants could read the report and identify whom the report referred to. So as far as, somebody could pick this up and look at the information and be like, oh, I remember, and I can specifically name who this is. So again, that's a loss of privacy and confidentiality. And it could result also in some psychological harm. Let's look at a couple more. A study was set up to identify what types of people were most likely to give money to a stranger at a local park. People at the park were asked for money by an individual who said she had just lost her purse. No one was ever told that they were involved in a research project. So here we have a loss of respect. No one knows if they are or are not involved in a research project. A loss of honesty because we're not being honest about what's going on. And then there's no real benefit to it, right? What's the benefit for the people involved in the study? It'd be hard to identify some. Next one. Suppose a beginning tennis instructor will give her students extra credit to be in a study. This is pretty common. They are told the purpose of the study is to examine how well they serve and return a tennis ball over the course of the semester. So far, it makes sense. In truth, the students will be observed for frequency and intensity of losing their temper while playing tennis. Here's the kicker, right? So in actuality, we're looking for something other than what we're telling them. So we're not being honest about the situation, and we're not respecting their true participation or not, because they don't know they're really participating in the study that they are. Overall, ethics is going to guide our entire research project. We want to make sure we don't have any harm to our participants, whether that's psychological, physical, confidentiality is broken, anonymity is broken, privacy is broken, anything like that. We just want to make sure we're being honest, transparent, and detailing everything we're doing, and that the research we're collecting has a overall good, positive purpose.